And joining me now for a special conversation is the former Lieutenant Governor of Delhi, Mr. Najib Jung. Mr. Jung, thank you so much for speaking to NDTV. I was going through the article that you have written today. You have talked about a government which cannot function from jail and has raised questions regarding the functionality of the Aam Aadmi Party government with the Chief Minister in jail. You have also said that the BJP has to be held accountable as well. As a former Lieutenant Governor who has functioned under these circumstances, what do you think is the way out?
Maria, I think you are just asking a needless, provocative question. The tragedy before us is immense, and this is not the time to raise provocative questions. So give me a minute, and let's condole first the four people who have passed away. The three in Rajendra Nagar and one, the boy earlier in Patel Nagar. And the crux of the problem is different. So let's not get down to AAP or to BJP. The crux of the problem is the corruption in the system, the corruption in the municipalities that has allowed these tragedies to happen. It's been going on and on and on. And that has to be looked at first, because the Congress, the BJP, the Aam Aadmi, all have been at the helm of affairs for these last 25 years. And things have been going from bad to worse. And we wake up only when there is such a grotesque and serious tragedy. So first, let us look at cleaning the system. And I'm going to suggest something which is very dramatic. It's possible, but I think that government should look at even changing laws.
Please go ahead, sir.
We know that right from, let us say, the semi-top to the bottom, there is dishonesty and corruption in the municipal committees. I really think, and people are known the inquiry is pending, but nothing happens. What I would suggest is that complaints that are in the system, all those people who have been complained against, you should do an immediate narco test. You will know who is corrupt. And if that happens, then the rest of the country will wake up that we mean business into checking corruption. Because you allow, I mean, I have been watching TV, and if you see these dungeons, these basements, these are dungeons.
Yes. How
was this allowed? How has this been allowed for the last 10, 15 years? What have respective governments been doing? These are boys and girls, which come with fire in their stomach. They want to be officers, they want to work for government, they want to work for this country. And we end up exploiting them. Secondly, and let's talk of this unregulated coaching industry. Why have we let it be so unregulated? Isn't it time, when there are hundreds and hundreds of young boys and girls, whether it is Delhi, whether it is Kota, whether it is Mumbai, coming from their homes in an industry which only ends up exploiting them by telling lies, by telling them that you join my institute and you are guaranteed into making it into the UPSC? That's rubbish. So I think it's also now incumbent on all governments, all state governments, and I'm not talking only of Delhi, because this is a generic problem, which is not only in Delhi, but it's also in Rajasthan, it is in Maharashtra, it is in Madhya Pradesh, that government should think of arranging reasonable accommodation in very large numbers for students coming to seek exams. They can, of course, have a system of selection, and they should arrange for vast libraries. The teaching faculty, I agree, cannot be provided by government. And these guys can then go to various institutions to learn. Unless we regulate this industry, this is a tragedy today. In a week, you will forget it. You are announcing some 10 lakhs or 20 lakhs compensation. That is rubbish. It is rubbish for the loss of a young life. So therefore, raise this compensation, number one. Number two, come down like a ton of bricks on all their municipalities. And number three, get down to the seriousness of governing Delhi. And now I'm coming to your main question, which you asked me. I agree. I agree that Mr. Kejriwal should not and cannot function from jail. The functioning of a chief minister is very complex. Number one, his constituency is just not from where he stood. His constituency is the city of Delhi.
Yes.
Therefore, there are constituents which need to see him, number one. Number two, he has scores of files and important papers coming to him. He can't clear those sitting in jail. Number three, he has critical and important meetings with officers, with his ministers, and there are cabinet meetings to be held. Those can't be done. So I think that Mr. Kejriwal, has a moral perspective that he should not resign. That's fair enough.
Okay.
But I think it's incumbent on him to maybe hand over charge till he comes out on bail. Now I come to my third aspect. I think it's unfair to deny Mr. Kejriwal bail. He is not a flight risk. He has family here. He has elderly parents. He has a wife. He has children. He has embarked on a journey, albeit a complex one, but his own journey, and therefore I don't think that he's a flight risk, number one. Number two, you have filed charge sheets. And the law is that once you have filed charge sheets, then your case is more or less complete. And therefore, he should be let out. And he can be let out with strict conditions. You can do this, you can't do this, etc., etc. I think those things are necessary for Delhi to function, in all fairness.
So, of course, there is an unfortunate blame game that is playing out between the BJP and the Aam Aadmi Party. But as the former Lieutenant Governor of Delhi, would you say that there is also lack of clarity as to who is governing Delhi, and that is perhaps leading to this kind of catastrophe? The larger issue of governance and accountability in Delhi.
People think that there is a conclusion. There is a conclusion to the extent that should Delhi be a state or not, and that is a separate debate. Today, as I see it, Article 239 makes it clear that the Lieutenant Governor is at the helm of affairs. But it is very clear what are his powers. His powers are limited to public order, to policing and land. All other subjects come under the ambit of the elected government. So that is very clear. But why is it not functioning? Let me come to that now. It functioned well. It functioned when there were other lieutenant governors and other chief ministers. But somehow, Mr. Kejriwal has not got along with the lieutenant governors that have been there. I think initially it was a bit of excitement. He was a new chief minister. He came with a mission to cleanse the system. And I think that bit was overdone. So the problems occurred because he was unable to get along with the civil service. They were very, very, I don't want to get into them, but they were very unpleasant instances and clashes between him and very senior officers. So, and he went to court. He went to court and he lost them earlier. For instance, transfers and postings. Now, there was a clear understanding in government that postings below the level of secretaries would be done by the chief minister, and above that would be done by the lieutenant governor. And if the chief minister had a particular sort of objection or a comment on a particular posting, then he could talk to the lieutenant governor and sort it out. It worked beautifully. It was only when Mr. Kejriwal said that he would like to be in charge of all postings that the problems occurred. And the Honorable Supreme Court is now sitting on it. They have made it a larger bench who will sit and decide who will be doing the transfers and postings. So, but with all this crisis that is happening, I get your point, because you have 3 municipalities which are actually also not only corrupt but also not financially so viable, except for the South municipality. The North and the East are not even financially viable. So dividing them politically was a very, very bad decision, number one. Number two, I think with all this question mark that has now come and the constant disputes
You're right.
between lieutenant governors and the chief ministers, this system cannot be allowed to continue. I mean, the people of Delhi should not suffer because of a lack of understanding or clarity in how chief ministers and lieutenant governors would work together. So perhaps it's time for the union government, and I've said that in my piece today, to sit back and have a look at Article 239 to the extent that it needs tweaking or change or an amendment, and also debate afresh and look at the concept that should Delhi be a state, should Delhi not be a state, should Delhi continue to be a union territory. I think these things have to be looked afresh rather than sitting back on the 1986 Balakrishna report, which said that no, Delhi must continue as a union territory. I think we should look, because things have changed, times have changed.
Okay.
And there is great aggression in political parties. And when there is such aggression, then, sensible working suffers.
All right, Mr. Najib Jung, thank you so much for joining us and explaining your thoughts on this tragedy, which has certainly shocked one and all. Thank you so much.